Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Gamer Logic. Today we're lacing up the wrestling boots and we are reviewing TNA Impact Cross the Line for the PSP. Now, I will have you know that I am a big wrestling fan. Been watching it since I've been a kid and still watch it from time to time now. So I was kind of excited to play this game on the PSP and check it out. But just so you guys know, before you watch this review, I'm not biased against TNA at all. I don't know why you would think that or anything, but no, not biased at all. So here we go with the review. TNA Impact Cross the Line is basically a port of the 2008 TNA Impact game that was released on the Xbox 360, PS3, and PS2. Now notice I said 2008. If you don't follow professional wrestling, let me tell you that 2 years is a long time in the wrestling business. Things change on a month-to-month basis, people leave the companies, rings change, management changes, all sorts of stuff. So you'd probably expect the developers of this game to at least update it for its 2010 PSP release, like the roster or some of the storylines, right? Wrong. If you're buying this game expecting Hulk Hogan, Jeff Hardy, Mr. Anderson, Ric Flair, RVD, Tommy Dreamer, Sean Weltman, Scott Hall, Desmond Wolfe, and just about every new roster addition to TNA in the past year and a half, then you're out of luck. Not only that, the actual ring itself in TNA is now a standard wrestling ring, and in the game, this still has the six-sided ring. So if we can't play as current TNA wrestlers, who can we play as? Well, for starters, you can play as a ton of homemade jobbers that you'll fight in the story mode. You'll also get to play as TNA wrestlers who haven't worked with the company in over a year. Add this up with all the other things, and this is already a pretty disappointing game. Worst of all, we have to put up with Don West's commentary again. That's just not cool. Graphically, the game looks decent. It's right on par with any of the PSP SmackDown vs. Raw games. The entrance footage of the wrestlers is all pre-recorded from the next-gen games, so when they actually get in the ring, they don't look as good. Nevertheless, though, they still look pretty decent and may even edge out the last SmackDown vs. Raw, if not even out with them. The sound in this game is pretty decent. Hits sound like hits. You get the huge thud when you're whacking them with a chair, when you're launching off a turnbuckle, smacking them in the face with your fist, or dropping them on the mat with a DDT. The crowd actually sounds pretty good as well. If you have a good set of headphones or plug this into a surround sound system, then you're actually getting some pretty decent sound. Musically, the game does have all the authentic TNA themes, even if they are from a year ago. So let's see, we're missing wrestlers, the commentators aren't right, the ring isn't correct, we got to put up with Don West. So you at least got to expect that the grappling system is decent in this game, right? In my opinion, it isn't. You get one button to press to do a regular grapple, and then you are supposed to be able to hit up, down, left, or right in order to pull off different moves. 9 times out of 10, any direction I put it in usually resulted in the same move over and over again. Occasionally I would hold down the left shoulder button to do a heavy grapple, and I could do something else, but then I would get reversed. The reverse button is also in a weird spot on the PSP. In order to pull it off, you have to hit the down arrow on the actual directional pad. So you're using the nub to control your wrestler, but you're hitting down to actually do a reversal. It makes for some really awkward reversals. The storyline mode in this game casts you in the wrestling boots of Suicide. Suicide has just become the TNA World Champion, but unfortunately for him, he's ambushed by LAX and beaten to the point where he cannot be recognized, which is kind of funny because he wears the mask in the first place, so why would it matter? Anyways, he also loses his memory and he wakes up in Mexico. With the luck of plastic surgeons, he's able to heal up and get his face put back together, which is even funnier because you pretty much come out looking the same in a mask, just a different one. Now actually, in the Xbox 360 and the PS3 versions of the game, this is where you would create your custom character. But you don't in the PS2 or the PSP versions. You're just given whatever the developers at the time decided to give you, which is another generic looking guy in a jumpsuit and face mask. So, storyline wise, it's not too interesting. It's pretty passable. Overall, this game is completely passable as well. If anything, this should be a budget title for $19.99, but it's selling for a full $39.99 last time I looked. I'm sure that'll change pretty shortly. I will say that this is a passable wrestling game. I guess if you played it enough, you can get into it, but still, it's a cheap, dirty port, and it's not that fun. I give it 1.5 stars.